Okay, that's fine.
Yes, there's a document. That's what I thought. Okay, I need to put something on the record, but I don't know if you want me to do it. I guess I'll do it.
Well, you got to wait for the juries here. Yep.
No, this is already in. And I'm gonna correct it on the, that's what I was talking about. There was already a stack of photos that was there. So we can't use them. While we're waiting, do we have any updates about tomorrow morning when we might be starting?
8 o'clock. And as I told everybody else, you weren't back at that point. If you're going to want to have lunch tomorrow, make sure you bring a bag lunch or something like that, because the first thing I'm going to have the jury do when they come in is order lunch. When the lunch gets here, we'll take a half an hour break, and that's when we'll all eat, including the jury, and then we get right back to work. All right? Speaking of updates, have you heard anything more on our other trial?
Yes, the email I received that I relayed, which was generally that council wanted that status check tomorrow morning.
But nothing more than that? Okay. Well, that status check, that's a good time to bring that up. That can be in front of me, but my entire morning docket is going to be in front of Judge Rowe, but then have Mr. Feingold come down and join you here for a quick status check.
I think he was requesting Zoom, you might recall, Judge. Sorry. I guess he could also appear via telephone if that's more convenient. I'll ask him.
Yeah, would you please? And then, and I don't know, maybe it's something that you two can discuss, and because Steph will be down there, pointing the wrong way. Steph will be down there in Judge Rowe's courtroom anyway, so maybe that's something you all can work out down there. I don't know.
I could have Ms. Cassis cover the hearing also. If you're
Okay.
okay with her.
Yeah, sure. Thanks. Are we ready? Ready. Okay, let's bring them in.
Jury entering.
All right, everyone, take your seats. Thank you for your punctuality, ladies and gentlemen. What was it you wanted to do before this witness comes in? You want to do something else in front of the jury?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Sorry, thanks for the reminder.
Sure.
There was a diagram that had several pages. It was referenced to throughout the testimony.
Diagram of a car, right?
Diagram of a car
Okay.
relating to the Cadillac. It was placed into evidence at the time as 13. However, there was already a set of photographs that are already states 13. So this is being renumbered 14. So this is just the reference to the diagram
Okay.
of the Cadillac.
Thank you. All right, so that's being renumbered to States Exhibit 14. Got it. Okay, and the next witness is?
State calls CSM Brandt.
All right, and she's on her way up.
Bronson, I'm sorry. Whew. Long day.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the evidence you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do. Thank you.
All right, CSI Brunson, will you please say and spell both your first and last name for the record?
Sure. My first name is Danielle. That's Danielle. My last name is Bronson. That's Bronson.
Okay,
that answers that question. Bronson, not Brunson. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
You may inquire, Miss Edwards.
thank you. Ms. Bronson, what do you do for a living?
I am a crime scene manager.
And how is that different from other crime scene investigators that the jury might see?
I manage a group of crime scene investigators. I also still do some of the crime scene work. However, I'm more at an administrative position.
So you're supervising, but you also assist.
Correct.
I want to take you back to April of 2021. How long had you been with the department up until that point?
Up until that point, I was there for about 16, going in my 17th year.
And all of that time as crime scene or doing crime scene work?
Yes.
When there is a scene like this, one that involves several different places, what is the general thing that happens? One person goes to all places, or how do you divide that supervisory role so that everybody gets to where they need to be?
Well, it generally depends on how many investigators are working at that time. At that time, I believe we only had 2 investigators working and myself. So myself and CSI Brandt went to one of the crime scenes where the decedent was located. And then once I realized that there was another scene to go to, I then asked another CSI, that would be CSI Ali, to go to that particular scene.
All right. Did there come a point that you assisted CSI Brandt with demarcating or doing a diagram of the Cadillac in this case that was at the original place where you went?
Yes, ma'am.
And was that a part and parcel of the search of that vehicle?
Yes, it was.
And what exactly were you doing the diagram for? What was the purpose?
Just another set of notes. It was already like a computer-generated picture of a vehicle that matched best to the Cadillac vehicle. It had 4 doors. It was just an easier way of doing notes rather than literally handwriting everything.
And so as the jury goes through States 14, can you tell us what they will see? And if I could approach the witness.
You may.
Thank you.
I won't have you describe it up there. I'll do that so that the jury can see each item. But just generally, what defects are you marking down on the vehicle?
Pretty much CSI Brandt is the one searching the vehicle. I'm on the outside assisting her with the written documentation so that we're not cross-contaminating. Also, there were numerous defects within this vehicle, so it was just a more efficient way of doing it. She would tell me where the defect was located, and then I would note it on this particular diagram. It's of the driver's side, the passenger side, both exterior and interior, and then again, that was noted on the particular diagram or picture. You'll see markings such as D1E. The D refers to defect. Obviously, I give it a particular number, and then if it's E, that means it's exterior. If it's given an I, that means the defect was interior.
Do you also mark on the diagrams whether or not the view of the vehicle and the markings that are there are an exterior and interior separately from those E's and I's?
Yes. Also, the vehicle description is also marked on each of the pages, such as the tag, the VIN number, the type of car, as well as if the location of the defect isn't self-explanatory just by looking at the diagram, then there's also a written description on that particular page.
So will we see your handwritten notes as well of where the defects were?
Yes.
May I retrieve the item, Judge?
Yes, you may.
Thank you.
Yeah, you may.
Starting with the first page of the diagrams, could you tell us what area of the vehicle is drawn here and whether or not there were defects on this area, if you recall?
This is the exterior driver's side of the vehicle. I believe there were some within the driver front window in the exterior. I don't think you can see it just because it's a photocopy of the particular diagram, so it's difficult to see. I think there were 4 defects.
You saw the diagram just now. You're able to see them with your natural eye. Is that correct?
I can't see those defects on the window, no, but other than that, I can see the handwriting.
Sorry, let me make sure my question is clear. When you look at the actual page, not here on the screen, can you actually see the little markings on there indicating the defects?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so the jury will be able to see that.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you indicated that they were at one area of the vehicle exactly.
Correct.
What area?
This area would be the driver front window.
Okay. And do you recall there being 4 defects in the driver's side of that vehicle?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. Moving now to page 2. What area of the vehicle are we looking at?
This is a top view of the Cadillac.
And the defect that's demarcated here is where exactly?
I believe it is on the rear windshield on the passenger side.
So for reference purposes, is this the general area that you're referring to that would have your marking?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Page 3 of States 14. What area of the vehicle?
This is the exterior passenger side.
Okay, and there are clearly a lot of marks here. Are all of those marks indicative of a defect from a gunshot penetrating this vehicle?
It's a defect. I can't tell you for certain that it was made by a firearm. Through my training and experience, it appears as it is, but again, we just document them as defects. They're a hole in the vehicle.
Okay. Let's start with the tire. What tire was this?
That was the passenger front tire?
Okay. And was that deflated?
Yes, it was.
And you indicate that by saying flat here?
Yes, ma'am.
What about the light towards the front passenger side?
There was a defect. It was broken.
And then several defects on the door of the passenger front?
Yes, ma'am.
And then also, of course, the window of the passenger front?
Yes, ma'am.
And you also are indicating several other areas along the side of the wheelbase, is that correct?
Correct.
And then also the frame of the rear of the passenger side door.
Yes, that would be the C pillar. Yes.
Okay. And again, you indicate these are all exterior.
Correct.
Okay. Page 4. Is this what you mean by notes? We can see, obviously, there's more than just the demarcations now and more sentences and words.
Correct.
Okay. And for instance, can you tell us what area of the vehicle this is such that we can understand generally what the notes mean?
This is the interior of the driver's side.
And I know I asked you whether or not you did anything besides the E and I's to indicate interior and exterior. Is this that general area where you indicate what part of the vehicle this is?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And were there defects to the interior of the vehicle?
Yes, there were.
And this is on the driver's side?
Yes.
Were there defects on the seat as it appears to be on this diagram?
Yes.
And then several on the interior door?
Correct.
Okay. So wherever we see something demarcated, that's exactly where it was seen, and you indicated it here.
Yes, a written explanation is also written there just in case it wasn't. For the interior of the vehicle, it's very hard to tell where exactly the defect is, so that's why each has their written description of where it's located.
Okay. So let me select one for identification. D36I, I indicating the interior here.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And within rubber stole, what does that mean?
Seal?
Oh, it's seal. Okay. Rubber seal of compartment door around driver. What does that mean, door?
Around the driver door. The seal, the rubber seal that you see there on the compartment, it's probably easier to look if you see it in the photograph.
So is that just sort of the sort of cushion between metal in the door frame itself?
Yeah, that rubber, yes.
Okay, all right. And those are sort of your handwritten notes about the areas, and they will be fairly self-explanatory for the rest of them, right?
Correct.
All right, page 5. What area of the vehicle is this one?
We are still on the interior driver's side.
Okay, and are there still defects to be noted?
Yes, ma'am.
And again, your notes?
Yes, this time it was difficult to put it on the actual vehicle diagram. So again, they were more written in this particular instance.
Did you note any defects to the windshield of the vehicle?
I would have to refer to the diagrams, but I believe so.
Okay, if you could go ahead and actually, can I refresh your recollection with CSI Brandt's report? I think that might assist you. May I approach the witness,
Yeah,
Judge?
you may.
Doesn't appear to, no.
Okay, so none of these demarcations are indicating the front windshield, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so these are all other interiors of the vehicle then in this particular page, which I believe was 4 or 5.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, moving now to the last page. Sort of similar question, where in the vehicle are we looking at?
This is the interior passenger side.
Okay, and again, are there defects, and if so, where?
Again, I'd have to read exactly what the location is. It looks like they're the ones that are labeled on the vehicle are in the passenger rear compartment, and then again, numerous other ones with an actual explanation of where it's located.
Okay, and again, aside from the single defect that you noted to the back windshield, no other windshield, not the front or the back, besides that one in the back.
Again, not that I recall, but I would have to look at the diagrams.
Please feel free to look at the notes.
No, ma'am.
Okay. So that no ma'am is a response to what exactly?
No other defect other than that one that was located in the rear windshield and none in the front windshield.
Okay. So none in the front, just one in the rear.
Correct.
All right. Thank you so much. I will tender the witness,
All
Judge.
right, very well. Any cross?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Unfortunately, good evening. How you doing?
Good, sir. How you doing?
Okay, so was there any blood on the outside of this vehicle?
I don't recall.
Anything in your notes will help you refresh your memory?
In my notes, no. In my report, no.
Were you there when CSI Brandt was checking for blood on the outside of the vehicle?
I was there when she searched the vehicle, and we saw it on scene. I know there was blood inside of the vehicle. I don't recall if there was blood on the outside.
How about the diagram on states number 14? Do you have it on there if there was blood on the outside?
I think that was mostly for the defects and if we've recovered any metal fragments or whatnot. I could look at them if you'd like me to. I don't recall.
All right, well, how about your notes? You have a lot of notes beside the diagram also, don't you?
I do. I don't have the notes in front of me, though. I do not.
Show them to you. So you did this diagram, right? Would it possibly be on here if there was blood-like substance on the outside?
There might be. I can check, but that was again mostly for the defects. The
Would that refresh your memory possibly?
that's not in there.
It wouldn't be there?
It's not in there, no, because if I may, I did the notes. However, the description of the vehicle and everything inside or outside is going to be in CSI Brandt's report.
Okay, so
Okay.
she's the one we should ask if there was blood on the outside of the car?
Yes, unless you want me to check my notes, but yeah, it would be in her report if there were or weren't. Okay.
Okay, thanks. So you didn't collect any blood, you would just there to take notes for defects is what you're saying?
Yes, I was helping her with a description of the vehicle.
Okay. What, do you remember the VIN, the VIN number was partially obscured on this Cadillac?
I do on the front windshield, yes.
What was obscuring it, do you know?
Some type of piece of paper. I'm not 100% sure what type.
You know how it got there?
I do not.
Were you able to remove it or you just left it there?
I didn't remove it, no.
You noted that in your notes?
That it was obscured in the notes? Yes.
Okay. You remember there was a, you remember any blood in the back seat of the car?
I don't recall, sir.
You have notes that there was blood-like substance on the passenger front headrest, driver's front headrest, there was a defect, blood-like substance on the driver's seat bottom and back of headrest. Remember that?
As you're reading it to me, yes.
All right. And I'll show you notes. I don't see anything in here about blood on the passenger seat. Would you like to see your notes?
No, I believe you. If it wasn't documented, then I believe there was not blood back there.
You have also, there was a bottle of H2O in the middle of the rear seats.
Yes, sir. As you're reading it to me. Again, I don't have a copy of my notes in front of me, so.
I can show them to you if you want.
Yeah, I trust you.
And you do hundreds of cases, so it's hard to remember every detail, right?
Well, again, yes, and since I was assisting Brandt, all that information